This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.
Welcome. This is your daily dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is 10/12/21, show number 329. Sorry we haven't been around for the past couple of days. Circumstances out of our control, but we're back here now. And Nick, it's options expiration week yet again.
It is. We're back to Options X, and you know what happens during Options X. It's a week of institutional game playing. It's also a time period where you're going to hear a lot of rumors. You're also going to hear some takeovers. Most of them will be false. Every once in a while, we do get some that are true. Plus, we're going to get a lot of ridiculous upgrades and downgrades this week. So remain neutral, and just remember, options expiration, the same game unfolds almost each and every time period, and that's the third Friday of every month.
Yeah, and here we are. So earnings season is kicking off, and it's so funny the way it coincides with Options X.
Yeah, it seems to never fail. Earnings season kicks off tomorrow, really, with JP Morgan, Delta Airlines, and Blackrock. They'll all report earnings before the opening bell tomorrow. And then next week, it really kicks into full steam. This week, we'll get a lot of the financial companies reporting. I think Goldman Sachs will report later this week, along with Bank of America. But next week, we get all of the companies starting to report, and just get ready. It'll be a Wild West time period out here with Options X, and then going right into full steam earnings season.
All right, so we got the JOLTS report, which is job openings, 10.4 million. Plenty of openings. We were talking before, like truck drivers. There should be a sign out there, hug your truck driver today. I've come up with a way for them to be able to recruit them very easily and in large numbers. You simply give them a subscription to Tinder along with their job opening, their job assignment, and they can go all over the world swiping right and left.
Well, that might be an idea, because let me tell you, I just got back from a little trip, and I've never seen so many trucks on the road with signs saying we're hiring, and it's rather remarkable. But they cannot fill truck driver jobs right now. They are plentiful. They are out there, and I have to say I was incredibly surprised. I really, really was shocked almost to see how many signs out there for truck drivers there are.
Yeah, well, I'm writing an article about 10 items that are in short supply now and going into even greater short supply. And on that list is truck drivers, because the way that the industry has evolved, it used to be a high-paid, union-dominated field. Now it's a field of where they were employees. Now it's a field dominated by owner-operators. Their costs of everything are going up, and because they're freelance, independent contractors, their pay is kept to an absolute minimum, and you hear them advertising on the radio all the time. This has been going on quite a while, but now it's been exacerbated by the supply chain woes and the fact that there are so many container ships, backed up in the ports, like the Port of Long Beach. It's just unmanageable. Port of Miami, same deal. Every port in the country.
Yeah, it's rather incredible to see that. I mean, I really can't understand why that is taking place to this extent. I think earlier I saw 134 ships off the coast of California that can't come in, and it is quite remarkable. But this is what we're dealing with right now, and again, this is, the disruption, and this is causing a lot of disruptions and supply chain disruptions around the country and really around the world. So I don't see this clearing up anytime soon. I think it's going to be with us for a little while here, but it's really just a remarkable time.
Yeah, it's
It's as nice as I could be.
yeah, it really is. And the fact is, like in Long Beach, 134 ships backed up. You would think they'd declare a state of emergency and go to 24/7, unload those things and get rid of that backlog, especially coming with Christmas season coming up. But nobody seems to be running things in DC. And as a result, it's like, hey, just do your usual 10 to 4 routine. Don't worry about us.
Yeah, it really is. It is complete mismanagement, and that's what I think it is. Honestly, I don't think it's anything more than that. I mean, you can have a problem like this occur, but to this extent and for this long, it's rather remarkable. There was an old saying back before the central banks used to print so much money. The market goes as a president's polls go. And, obviously we know where this president's poll numbers are. But, again, the saving grace, I guess, is just that the central banks continue to print boatloads of money.
Yeah, and we'll see how long that can continue on for. Interesting statement by Jamie Dimon today.
Yeah, Jamie Dimon came out and said he believes that Bitcoin is worthless, but people still want it. You have to appreciate his honesty. I mean, he is pretty blunt about it. Now, he is in the money business. So, again, it is quite something. But, what does he know that we don't know? And that's really what it comes down to. But it is pretty amazing that he does come out and he's pretty blunt about the whole Bitcoin theory and what he believes it does represent. But I thought that was pretty fascinating this morning to get that headline first thing out.
Yeah, well, you now see what's happening. The media is turning. There's been a number of negative stories. We got the Tether story, which has been out there forever, that supposedly the stable coin is being used to jack up Bitcoin and other cryptos. I don't know the answer to it, but I do know that when I see the media turn, something happens, but yet Bitcoin is getting close to its old high.
Yeah, it's down a little bit today. So it's down about 2% today. But yeah, it did get, just pulling up my Bitcoin chart as we speak, but it did get above that big psychological level from September 7th. And that's a big positive. It is a little bit overbought here on the daily chart. It's had a tremendous, tremendous move. And what it's now testing is its breakdown resistance from May 10th, basically around May 10th of 2021 before the big fall. So I have to say Bitcoin has defied gravity. Put that low in on, I believe it was June 22nd. You made double bottom higher low on July 20th. Then you had that big September 7th decline. Bitcoin pulled back, tested that 40,000. It never broke that 40,000 level. That was a key level for me. And here we are testing the May 10th pretty much in that May 10th highs. We're not quite at 60,000, but Bitcoin right now trading at around 56,000 and change. So it's had a great run, and it could still go higher. I mean, what can you say? It's now above all its moving averages. So it has definitely come back quite a bit. But again, a lot of resistance in play here on this daily chart.
Yes, lots. And gold looks to be having an okay day today.
Yeah, gold is actually doing pretty well today. So if you take a look at gold futures, up about $7.60. It's a gain of a little bit more than 0.4%, trading at 1763. So not a bad day for gold futures, and hanging in there. Silver futures a little bit on the weaker side, down about 7 cents as we speak on silver futures. That's a dip of around 0.3%. But the SLV today is up 3 pennies for what it's worth.
SLV is up for, like you say, for what it's worth. I guess on the spot, it's up a couple of pennies as well. But you don't see any major earth-shattering trends here for precious metals?
I mean, right now, gold has an interesting pattern in play. It was making a beautiful consolidation move. It tried to break out on the 8th of October, then got rejected at its 50-day moving average on the GLD. If you look at gold futures, pretty much the same exact pattern, but it hasn't broken its consolidation. So I think gold is going to go test 1,800. That's going to be the big near-term test. You got your 200-day moving average there. Just above it, you have your 100-day moving average at 1,804. But I think it's still on the pattern is still pretty good here to test that 1,800 level. That will be a struggle, though, to get through.
All right. Finally, since we covered it so much, I feel we need to talk about it. Nat gas, Henry Hub, it's broke under the $6 mark. So it's around 5.38 on the Henry Hub, I guess, futures, and looks like a consolidation move.
Yeah, right now you went parabolic. I had a put option out there just last week, right at the top, and I've taken out off the table, banked a quick 28% on that. But overall, it's a decent pullback. So this is, if you're bullish nat gas, this is really what you want to see. It might pull back a little bit more. I wouldn't rule that out because, listen, let's face it, this was one of the most incredible moves we've ever really seen in such a short period of time. But if you consolidate, you're setting up to go higher down the road. I think it needs a little bit more backing and filling here because it's just so overbought. But again, I took my short trade off the table with put options. So when this thing gets going again, it can get going pretty quickly. So you got to be careful with it. Today, nat gas is flat, sitting at 534 as we speak.
All right. So there's rumors that a couple of major hedge funds are on the rocks because they got caught upside down in their nat gas trade, and they were doing spreads. I don't know how you lose money in spreads doing nat gas, but evidently they did the wrong play. Rumor on the street is one or more large commodity hedging funds are on the rocks.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. And what happens is when they do spreads, they're really just trying to take in some income, hedging a position, but they actually have a bias. And, obviously their bias wasn't to see nat gas go to 650. And they got hurt pretty bad. So I think all these hedge funds use high leverage, sometimes 10, 20 to 1 leverage. And that's what happens when they're caught on the wrong side. They get these big margin calls, and that certainly will affect them. We've seen the same thing go on with the Archegos hedge fund back in March. But somehow, some way, the market defied gravity and went a lot higher.
Nat gas became like the AMC or the COS or whoever it was.
It became a meme stock, yeah.
Yeah, it really kind of did, And,
it was.
Yep.
I mean, the nat gas move is unbelievable. Remember, we talked about it a long time ago, though. The fundamental backdrop in Europe is in my opinion, part of or at least the primary reason why nat gas made its move. And that still has not been resolved yet.
Yep. Agreed. And the situation, energy, if we have a cold winter, it's going to be crazy. Even if we don't have a really cold winter around the globe or in Asia and Europe, it's still could be tight supplies here. One thing I wanted to mention was that I think it was JP Morgan Chase came out with a thing about that higher nat gas prices really aren't going to affect inflation. And I'm just not buying it.
I'm not buying that either. I think anything that people need to survive that's inflationary hurts them just like gasoline prices. Gasoline prices now are over $3 a barrel. Most places I was paying, as high as $3.25 now here in Florida. So again, anytime you need something, that is going to be a direct hit, a direct tax right on your wallet. So again, I don't buy that for 1 minute.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. In any event, go over to Nick's site, inthemoneystocks.com, see how Nick has beaten the averages for decades. The Twitter feeds at ITMS, at Nick Santiago01, and at Kerry Lutz. Feel free to send us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, Kerry.
This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.